Thanks, Sonny. All right. I thought, first of all, I got just a ton of respect for their team, and I think when they get Avery back, and it sucks that a kid who's had a great career there, who's an awesome player, that the game went like that for him. So hopefully he's fine and is able to get back with them soon. But I got a lot of respect for them. I think they got a chance in the Ivy this year to be one of the better teams, to be fighting at the top of the league. They got an excellent coach, not just a young coach, but they got an excellent coach that's going to be a great coach in this game for a long time. So just watching the film and how they go about their business was very impressive. And again, just with Thompson, and Bedry and Brown and Nolan, and then obviously Franklin, was a super talented freshman, and some front court depth. I just thought it was going to be a tough game. I wasn't expecting us to be able to do what we did in the first half, to get that level of separation. It felt like I wouldn't even say it was a slow start. I just thought that, we missed some shots, and you made a couple of mistakes on defense, but I thought the first 22, 25 minutes of the game were an extension of the last game. I thought we showed a level of dominance and defense, and 15 assists, 2 turnovers in the first half with suffocating defense. I thought it was awesome. Second half, human nature kicked in, and Columbia. They got a lot of pride, and they're well coached. They got tough kids and they're good players, and they didn't want to get 40-pieced in here today. They fought their ass off, so credit them. And then human nature, kind of reared its ugly head for us, and we didn't play a clean second half. So it gives me enough things in the second half to be disappointed about. Missed a bunch of free throws and a bunch of things at the rim. And fouled a lot. And started getting driven. I threw you off by that last part.
Can you just write that off to human nature in that second half, or is it, like you said, it's going to be something you'll harp on for the next few days?
Some of it was missing some shots. I thought Solo went 3 for 9. I thought he had like 9 great threes. You missed 10 free throws. You obviously had that sequence that brought me back to the Michigan State, where we couldn't rebound free throws. We had that really bad stretch. Like rebounding showed itself to be a potential issue today. That stretch where it felt like the ball was at the other end for about a minute and a half on missed shots and missed free throws. So, that's I would say that's alarming. Like there was, we had things at the rim. I mean, that second half easily could have played out between 30 and 40 points. But we just, we didn't play a full 40-minute game. And now we're heading into a part of the schedule where if you don't play a full 40-minute game, like you can't play. Like we had a stretch where we did not play well for 8 straight minutes. Like you can't play poorly into the stretch of schedule that we're going into for like 3 or 4 straight possessions, or else the game gets away from you.
Dan, setting up perfectly with the next segment of the schedule. When you look ahead, what kind of a challenge and opportunity do you see? And based on what you've seen from your own team, how well equipped are you guys to make the most of it?
Yeah, I think, listen, this time of year, I think people are challenging themselves in these non-conference games, and it's a good barometer for where you're at. I think you have a pretty good sense of where you're vulnerable, but it's really going to expose vulnerabilities, especially when you go into the deep water now with BYU and whoever's coming up after that, because I have no idea who we play after that game, and you just focus on a one game at a time mentality. I think the team, when you watch clips of BYU and AJ and Saunders, They got one of the best point guards in the country. I mean, when you see that quality on film, I mean, you get scared straight. Things that worked the first 3 games won't work. But it's fun. We're excited to get a chance to go play in Boston this weekend versus one of the best teams in the country, so it should be fun.
Coach, 9 assists, 6 rebounds per side. Is that kind of the numbers you want to see out of him moving forward?
Yeah, I like what he's saying. There's a lot of things that he's saying. I think his defense to start the game on Brown in particular, and whoever he was guarding, I think you could see that defensive potential, there with him, and I thought he handled the game really well. I just thought that, the way that he was able to kind of quarterback the team. He's going to have games like this where it's like, he's got Taris out there, he's got Solo out there, he's got AK out there, he's got Jay Ross who's got it going. In the game, he's got finishers and shooters all around him, and games where it's not him to attack it from a scoring perspective. He's got to get on the glass. He's got to do. That was a little bit like a Tristan type of game where it was like, bordering on double-figure assists, 6 rebounds, so flirting with a couple more with, maybe double figures in both. So yeah, I mean, this is what we brought him in to do.
Dan, was that your first challenge with him?
It was a strange time to do it, but I wanted to get one under my belt. And I don't know that I gave the right signal. I think I did the European. That's what they do in the Euro League, because I watch more Euro League than I watch the NBA. And so.
Do you like that role now, though, to be able to have that in your pocket?
Yeah, I do. Well, I mean, no, not really. We don't want anything else to have to think about, like turning around and looking at the video people, because you're not even sure what. We don't have the NBA quality of video, so like, if I read, sorry, the replays we're getting is not the replays that the Knicks are getting or the Celtics are getting, so it's a crapshoot over there. Here we go.
I was wondering, could you talk about what you saw from Terrace in comparison to his first half and the second half? Because it seemed like it was much more physical in the second half and really did a really good job of drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line at a high level.
Yeah, I mean, he's added a minutes restriction. I thought, like, defensively active, defensively active in ball screen defense, pressuring passers. I thought he, was just so impactful defensively in the first half, and then just super efficient whenever we threw him the ball. I think in the second half, he maybe let his guard down a little bit, just from a defensive standpoint. I think he was looking for, he was looking more for steals instead of just, I think what you got to do defensively is you try to pressure the opponent into making mistakes with the ball, and you steal mistakes. You don't try to steal the ball from the guy you're guarding. You pressure the opponent, and you wait for reverse passes on the inside shoulder, or you see a handler under duress, and I thought we tried to just start stealing the ball and not stealing mistakes in the second half. That's why our defense got worse.
Dan, you talked about expectations for Jaden Ross this season, seeing the movie, seeing him do well. It looked like he was doing that through the first half, then had some foul trouble in the second half. What was your assessment of how his night went?
Tremendous. I mean, that's what you're looking for from your wings. We got to get that. I mean, when we get Braylon back, I think that with Jaden Ross and Braylon, Jalen Stewart, we do got to find our way to Jalen Stewart and Jaden Ross playing well the same game. They've got to make some type of a pact together. Maybe they can. Used to be this thing. It was Wonder Twins. I don't know if anybody remembers that, with that old show. I don't know if it was a guy and a girl, or was it 2 guys?
Brother sister.
They were brother and sister. Okay, so they're both guys, so it can't be that. But I think the overall point I'm trying to make is that we need those guys to both play well in the same game. And Jalen Stewart was really good the other night, and he wasn't good tonight, he just wasn't sharp. And then Jay Ross will be a great team when like everyone shows up every night.
Yeah, just switching gears a little bit, I'm sure you pay attention to what the Big East is doing in terms of their non-conference games, and obviously there were 4 this week. I think they were all 4 losses, but there were some good games. But how much do you pay attention to how important is it for these other teams? And obviously this spate you guys coming up can do a lot for not only for you, but for the league as well, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, as bad as last year's non-conference, went for us in Maui, you guys could, if you go back, you guys could do the research on what our net was going into league, because we were able to recover and beat Baylor and beat Gonzaga neutral and win at Texas. So like it, and didn't lose any bye games. So I don't know if it was 8, 10, 12, but it was somewhere in that neighborhood. So even though I think we've had a couple of losses in the league early in some big non-conference games, you don't got to win all of them. You got to take care of the bye games. You can't piss those away, and then you just got to win enough of these battles. And we all got to do our part, because again, I think you don't got to be perfect, but what we don't want to do to each other once we get into league play is what happened last year, where it's just becomes a quad 3 and a quad 4, and you don't get many quad 1s, and you just end up really screwing the league. But that's why you root so hard for each other. I mean, we were following the St. John's Alabama score as our practice was starting, and people were jumping up and down, and the Providence game. I mean, like you support each other in the non-conference, and then when you play each other, obviously it's bad blood.
Yeah, and after the New Haven game, you talked about the assist to basket ratio needed to improve. It's really picked up the last couple of games. What do you think the difference has been there?
Just the approach, and listen, New Haven, that they had a day, and we were probably as bad as we could be on both ends of the court. But I just think that you get better as the season goes on. You get a wake-up call like that. Just get more comfortable on the court. They bought into, buying into sharing the ball. I thought we had some great sequences. I thought the first half was, again, like 15-2 assist to turnover versus, I think what's going to be a really good team this year, shooting 60% from the field. They're shooting 35. I mean, we couldn't maintain that level for a full 40. But I thought that level of the first half was like not many teams could play a first half like we played in the first half.
Anything else? Last one, Jeff? Yeah, Burfew's out there warming up before the game. Braylon's still off to the side. You expect either one of them to come back anytime soon?
Yeah, I think Bray's starting to move. Starting to move on the alter G and starting to shoot and do some different things. He's people that are his level of athlete, they tend to recover. He's such an elite athlete. They tend to recover a little quicker, than even timelines. So I think without pushing him, I think he's recovering well. And then, Furphy, again, he kind of sprained it in a non-live warm-up drill, so in like a freakish thing, and then we thought he was kind of getting close to getting back and maybe even being available for this one, but then he took a setback in the rehab. I think he might have just pushed it a little bit too hard, but he may be in the mix for the weekend. We'll see how he progresses this week. And Taras is off the minutes restriction. There is no minutes restriction for Taras moving forward. All right. Yes, sir.
Right before the game, I saw Silas go over to you, kind of last minute instructions thing. Can you just discuss kind of how your relationship is growing with him being the point guard? And you obviously know a lot about being a point guard.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to grow out of that part of our relationship will grow throughout the year and throughout his career like it did with Tristan. We're in the stage of me being on his ass right now about everything, literally every possession, every decision. everything that comes out, everything he says, everything he does, his facial expressions, his body language, his decision-making, his violence getting over the top of screens and ball screen defense, the way he leads, the way he directs. I mean, it's a contentious relationship because we're trying to mold him into a quarterback, or like a real elite level quarterback, like a all-American level quarterback, one of the best point guards in the country, an NBA player, a national champion. So that process is, it's hard to get there. But yeah, our relationship will grow throughout the year as he continues to develop into the player that we need him to be, the quarterback that we need him to be, the persona that we need him to be.